Hi everyone, Kieran Oversapian here from Filmstorm Studios, and I've decided to start creating some fan requests as we've had quite a lot of them recently. And today we're going to have a look at how to create an idle to crouch animation system, which should be fairly simple. And we're going to do that inside C#, which should be also interesting. So what we're going to do first is to get some animations. I've just gone to Mixamo, and they've got a really good range of free animations, so you can pretty much just type in whatever you want. So I've picked a crouch animation. I think I picked this one. So you just click on it and then you can just say download, and then you'll get these two download ones. And then I've just dragged them into Unity and you can see them just here. So all we need to do after you import them is come to Rig, Humanoid, and click Apply. And then click Humanoid for that one, and then when you expand them out, you'll see that there's the actual animation in there, and you can see that he's kind of off center. So what we want to do first is come to Animations, click Original, and then also click Loop, so that way it will continue to loop since it's an idle and you'll want it to keep looping. So then click Apply, and we'll also want to do that to the idle animation as well. So you want to loop it, and then you also want to make it orient to the front, so you can see that he's now staring straight down the middle. So click Apply and do that. Excellent. So now what we want to do is let's drag this guy out, and you can see we've popped him into the scene. Make that a little bit bigger, and let's just drag the camera. We're not going to worry about any camera scripting because we've done lots of tutorials about that. You can check out the C# camera collision tutorial. There's a really nice free system that I made that you can download from our new site, gamedevcoding.com, and we've also got lots of other nice scripts and stuff on there as well you can check out. Alright, so what we're going to do is, you can see if we click play, nothing's going to happen, so we need to set up the actual animation system. So let's just rename this guy. You can click F2, or press in F2, and you can quickly rename stuff. And you can see on the right side we have animator, but we need to create an animator controller. So right mouse click down here, create animator controller. Let's just call this idle to crouch, because that's just what we're going to do in this tutorial. And what we're going to do is just drag that in here, and then you can see that animator's in there. And then if you click in here, you'll see this little animator. Now what we want to do, we don't want to create a new layer. Just click delete. We want to come to parameters, and we want to create a new float and call this input X, and let's call this input Z, or input Y, sorry. Now we're gonna kind of think of this as like a 2D side scroller game, so let's just rotate this guy so he's kind of offsetted like so. Excellent. And let's just have it like that. Let's make this -90 because that's technically what a thing should be. Move that back a little bit, and let's just move it there. Excellent. So now you can see we've kind of got this general system, and what we want to happen is when we press down, we want the guy to crouch, and then you can also script in the left and right movement as well. So let's drag in the idle, and that will automatically make this the default layer. Let me just make the game over here, and let's just make this bigger. So you can see we've got the idle here. Now what we want to do is, you have two ways of doing it. In 2D side scrollers, I actually really like to do it inside a blend space. So let's right mouse click on the idle, and let's just right mouse click and say create new blend tree, and we want to just call this movement with an E. There we go, with an E. Excellent. So double click in there, and you can see this little blend tree sitting in here. And for now, since we're going to have just one directional movement up and down, let's just make 1D, and let's just pop into motion fields. So you got idle at 0, and and let's drag in the crouch idle, and that's going to automatically put it at 1, but we want to click automate thresholds, and let's make this -1. So when the player pushes down, he's going to crouch, and when he releases, he's going to go up. So now what we need to do is write a script to say when the player pushes down, we want him to be able to crouch. So let's come down, let's just close these guys out. All right, so let's right mouse click, create C#, and you can see how the naming convention has capitals where you want the spaces to be. So if we go idle to crouch, you can see once we go to our player and we assign a script, so let's go to idle, and you can see it automatically spaces out those words depending on where those capital letters are. So let's open up that new script we just made. And here we go, it's just going to load that up. And we want to create some variables to then use inside these methods. So let's create an animator. And this animator is where we're going to store that other animation. And now we want to create a float and call this input X, and another float called input Y. Now these are those two parameters that we made inside of the animator, input X and input Y. We can probably make these capitals just so we can make sure everything looks the same across everything. Now you can see that those variables don't appear in that script that we just applied to the player. So what we want to do is actually create this and call this public. So we want to see what happens when we click play, and you'll see that the animator will appear here now. So that's how you can make your variables appear on the front end to be able to adjust them or do other things to them. So here we have that animator. So now we need to actually say when the game starts, we're going to do something. And what we want to do is we want to get the animator, and we'll just put a comment. And that's how you can put a comment, so nothing, it's just a note to yourself. We want to say animator is equal to this dot game object. So we're going to get whatever the script's applied to, so we're going to get that game object. And we're going to say we want to get the component animator, and we want to just store that. So we're going to get this guy, we're going to find an animator, and we're going to store that inside this animator, this variable we just made, and we're going to get it off this game object. So we're going to get it off this guy here. So let's just click save or press Ctrl S. Let's come back to here. And if we click play, notice that it's going to grab this animator and pop it in there. Bam. So you get the player, it's getting the player animator, and it's storing that. So now we need to be able to tell it when we push down on the keyboard to actually make the guy crouch by sending a parameter to adjust these guys. All right. Okay, so now we need to set the actual parameters to do something with that animator that we just made. So what we want to do is we want to say animator, or actually no, we want to say input Y, and we want to say is input.getAxis. So we want to find the vertical, because we want to press down and we want the guy to crouch. So let's say get vertical. And basically we're getting this from the input. So if you come up to edit, project settings, input, open the axes, you can see we're finding this vertical and we're just storing this axis. So if you wanted to do something different, you wanted to get a different axis, or you want to set up a different input, you can just come into here and set that up. Okay, so let's come back to here. So we're gonna just store, we're gonna get this, and it's gonna be this. So now we need to actually say what we want to do with it. So you can see if we create, make this public, and save that, jump back to here, let that compile, click on player, and we click play. and we press down, you can see that and we release, it's going to give us this negative value. And if we press up, it's going to give us 1. So we need to tie this into the animator, because right now nothing's actually going to happen. So let's come in and we want to call the animator, and this is that one that we just grabbed from the player, and we want to set that float of that input X that we just put in there. So we want to set the input, input Y, because that's the vertical, and this is that parameter in here, this input Y. So make sure it's spelled exactly the same with capitals and anything else you have in there. And then we put a comma, and we want to set that other input Y. So we're basically getting that input Y here, and we're storing it into that that parameter. And then if we click and save, press play, and now you do it. Now you can see that we're crouching. And basically you can expand this as far as you want, and then you can pretty much create any other kind of scripting things you want. For example, we can then just quickly come back to here. Let's just type in walk. Let's just find, this guy looks kind of suave. Let's grab him, download. We want to download FBX for Unity. Just quickly grab this. It's going to download that very quickly. Alrighty, now let's just drag this into here. And let's click on here, do the same method. We want to create humanoid. It's going to process that. Let's loop it, because it's another looping animation. We want to orient it to that correct space. Click apply. And here you can see if you press play, it's going to do that. So now let's come back into here. And instead of a 1D directional blend tree, let's create a 2D freeform directional. And see, we want to do X by Y. So left by up and down. And let's keep the crouch in -1. So you can see if we still press down now, it's going to still work. But we want to actually click another motion field, and let's make this +1. So he'll walk forward. So let's just drag in this walking animation. And now you can see if we drag this little red dot forward, he's going to move forward. But what we want to happen is we need to actually set up the scripting. So we need to say input X. So this is that horizontal. We need to get that axis, store that in the horizontal. Oh, sorry, we're getting that from the horizontal input. And we want to do the exact same thing we are doing for this other one. We want to say input X is equal to that input X. So now if we come and press play, you can see he's going to walk and he will crouch. And then just for the sake of it, let's just parent this camera underneath him, so that way it will follow him when we move. Excellent. And then let's just whack in a plane at 0, 0, 0. Let's just scale that guy this way. And let's also just whack in some cubes in the background, so we can actually get a sense of some movement. Alright, let's duplicate this guy. And let's just offset him. Alright, now if we click play. And because the camera is parented to the player, it's going to give us that weird effect. But you kind of get the idea. And then if we want to walk backwards, you technically do want a backward walking animation, but just for the sake of it, let's come into here, make it -1, so it goes in that space, and actually reverse the time, which is a neat little trick to save you on some animating. And you can see it actually looks fairly decent. There you go. Yeah, so that's a little fast way to do that. And if we just drag that camera out, let's just move it back. kind of give you a sense of it. There you go. And you can crouch, move forward, and move backward. Wonderful. So that's like a quick little tutorial on how to do some quick scripting and get a simple animation to crouch and walk backwards and forwards using Mixamo and C#. If you have anything else you want to learn, let me know. I'm going to be doing a lot of fan requests over these next few weeks, so please leave a comment, let me know what you want, and I'll try and make it. And also, we're doing a giveaway on gamedevcoding.com. We're going to be giving away animation packages, so you can go over there, click on the giveaway slot on the menu bar, and you can just register, and who knows, you can win a animation pack, and who knows, you'll get some great animations. Well, thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you enjoy all the other tutorials on FilmStorm YouTube channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial.